So the West, the United States in particular, have been pushing the world closer and closer to potential World War III and nuclear Armageddon with their proxy war against Russia via Ukraine. And there was just a report or news coming out a couple days ago that Russia, Putin government in Russia is considering or has already adopted change to its use of nuclear weapons doctrine, which was saying that they would consider using nuclear weapons against a non-nuclear weapon state if that non-nuclear weapon state was being provided by a state with nuclear weapons. So obviously, you can surmise they're talking about Ukraine, who is being supported by NATO and the United States, and that the Kiev regime, the Zelensky government, has been asking for long-range missiles to be able to target deep inside Russia, which there's been a little bit of pushback from either the Pentagon or certain members of the Biden administration against giving that to the Zelensky regime, to the Ukrainian regime, which is good, but the West, NATO, particularly the US, but obviously Britain and the other countries as well, pushing the world closer and closer to nuclear war, to the end of potentially the human species if that was to happen. And I was listening to Professor Jeffrey Sachs on Danny Haifong's channel being interviewed about this, and he went back to Cold War times when Kennedy and his counterparts in the Soviet Union cooler heads prevailed and prevented nuclear war, during the Cuban Missile Crisis from going on. But at least in the US, we don't have anybody with any type of, sound logic or reason at the helm. We have Biden, who is MIA, not super with it at all cognitively, right? It's honestly kind of sad that he is in that position, but also deeply disturbing in the sense that man who's not fully cognitively aware of what's going on and the consequences of his actions or inactions with regards to certain things has the ability, to support the genocide against the Palestinians and then to also start World War III against Russia. So it's not Russia that is the pushing the world closer and closer to nuclear war. It is the collective West, NATO, and the United States in particular. But damn, right? We're not engaging in any type of diplomacy or negotiations. None of that's happening. That even happened during the Cold War, and as Professor Jeffrey Sachs pointed out, it's a much dangerous time now than the height of the Cold War tensions, which is pretty wild because back then, there was people with, bomb shelters and air raid sirens and stuff like that. And we don't have any of that right now, but the stakes couldn't be any higher. And that atomic scientist doomsday clock, probably the closest to midnight than it ever has been, which is a really chilling thing to think about. Whew. Take care.